Hello and welcome to the Winners Find a Way Show. I am your host, Trent Clark. Super excited again on the Winners Find a Way Show. We're doing a special today, and I am with my man, Mitch Allen with Hire Santa again to talk about winning ways. And this guy has won a lot. He's a serial entrepreneur, author. Mitch, you've done it all, man.
Done a lot. I guess that means I'm old.
Yeah. If we've accomplished a lot, that means like you can't do that all before you're 30. Is that it?
Right.
I know, and listen, it's a good point because a lot of people want to talk about like, hey man, I want to get rich quick. I want to do this fast. And like, man, last time I looked, like the methodology, you got to put your head down, and the map never seems to go directly to the spot.
Yeah, absolutely. And one of the things we're not necessarily talk about it today, but is it's going to take longer, and it's going to be harder and take longer than what you actually think it's going to be. I mean, so making a decision about what you're going to do is really important, whether you're hunting for your first job or starting a business, because it could be 10 years of your life.
Yeah, I think that's such a good point, because it's one of the things I think is a disservice today in the entrepreneurial environment. It's like there's a lot of advertising that's like, get a website, you're going to be a millionaire. Like, listen, there's a lot of other websites out there. Like, just because you started something and you got going, awesome. That is great. You took a major leap of courage. Super excited about that. But that does not make you a millionaire. Like, you are now going to have to go compete with everybody else who's out there trying to go after the same business. What have you found in that?
Yeah, absolutely. And just starting a business is it's easy. I mean, I joke that a couple of weeks ago I started 3 businesses in 1 week.
Yeah.
You can make LLCs super easy. I was putting some property into certain things and technically started a business. Like, that's super easy. But building a sustainable business that then is going to have real revenue, have real legs, and be able to provide for you and your family, that's a different ball game altogether.
Well, for those, I'm going to do a quick reminder. If you haven't seen the episode with Mitch Allen, Hire Santa, all his walkthrough. I'm drinking out of my Hire Santa cup, which everything's better in a Hire Santa cup. I'm telling you right now, it is holiday season, and we're talking winning ways today, which is awesome. If you have not seen his original episode of Winners Find a Way, going through his environment and what he came through, his time on Shark Tank and his partnership. It's an amazing story. I'm not going to tell you who his Shark Tank partner is, but you're going to have to watch the episode. There it is.
Yeah, it's great. We had a great time talking about it, and a lot of lessons learned getting on to Shark Tank and being on it. So, yeah.
And if you have not, we have hired Mitch Allen to come and speak to the Entrepreneurs Organization in West Michigan. Amazing talk. Like, it is one of those things once in a lifetime, especially when you're talking about the best time of the year, right? We're talking Hire Santa and Christmas, right? So this is awesome. But the lesson is transcendent, as we're talking about such a great environment of Shark Tank and Santa Claus and Christmas, great. But the business lessons are transcendental, man. It's just so good. And the experiential share is just amazing. So well done.
No, thank you very much. I had a great time talking with the chapter.
Yeah. And then you wrote a book. You wrote a book back. You were a private wealth manager, and then, well, you were in the space of debt consolidation and bankruptcy. Talk to me a little bit about that book.
Yeah, so my background's internet marketing and really in lead generation for law firms. But we also had a company called Debt Education and Certification Foundation, where we help people who were considering or recently filed for personal bankruptcy. And I wrote a book called Survival Guide to Debt, which sort of walks people through the options that you can consider when you're in serious consumer debt. And then if you've decided to go into bankruptcy, talks about the options within bankruptcy and how to then come out on the other side. And that company, I'm not involved anymore, but we educated, when I was involved, over 2 million people who were going through the bankruptcy process, and then that have shared that book. So yeah, it was a great book and a great time. And we helped a lot of people who were going through personal debt. And we're seeing that today. Credit card debts are back on the rise at the highest levels, I think, ever, or at least since the financial crisis. And so those lessons, and I like to say there are no new secrets. It's all basic blocking and tackling, but you need somebody there to help you to point out what those things are.
Survival Guide to Debt. I think it is pointed. It's a pointed time in our nation's history and what's happening. We have seen those debts rise considerably recently, coming out post-COVID. So timely book right there. Yeah, we got Santa Claus timely. We got this. All right. But today we're going to talk a little bit about Hire Santa, which I love, right? And we've talked a little bit about this so many times, and I can't always tell people, how much the lessons, like the Hire Santa brand and the things that have been done there are amazing, and that's awesome. We've talked a lot about it, but I think that the real episode of what the learning was, especially from your live, was really talking about getting into business and talking about those challenges that you faced along the way, which were considerable, right? And I love that successful companies do the things others know they should do, but generally don't. Let's start there, because I always find that, like, we almost know what we're supposed to be doing. It almost feels like internal, like we're driving something. No one goes running away from what they know is right, but they do drift off that line. Is that fair?
Yeah. And most people know the issues that are in their business, and they know what they should be doing, but they don't. And as an entrepreneur, I'm a serial entrepreneur, and these lessons are really from all the businesses I've owned. I've owned more than a dozen businesses, and some successful, some have failed. And you see that you know what you should be doing, but most companies don't do them. And these are just the basic blocking and tackling things that they do. I was talking with even like an irrigation guy just recently, and he doesn't email his clients. Like, that's a basic thing. You've got a client who trusts you in some way. Go out and email them or text them or communicate with them. As the saying goes, it's easier to keep a client than it is to get a new one. And you've already put all the effort into it. They've already put trust into you. They've given you money. That's a simple example of something that most companies, they're so busy in doing what's right in front of them that they're not thinking about what's ahead of them. And those are the things about cultivating relationships, doing that marketing that they know they should be doing, working on the business instead of just in the business. But you know what you need to do. Now you just got to get to work.
It's so good. And I think that, I think the statistic on that is, I think it's 7 times more to acquire a new client cost-wise, 7 times more than it is that you already have someone who says, I like you, I trust you, I bought from you before, I'm buying from you again. Like, hey, these are your bread and butter. Like, this is where it's at. And, we have a lot of clients who have thousands and thousands of clients. And if you're not emailing them, I mean, come on, this is the home bread right there, right? Yeah. That's crazy. So I love that. It's a great example of it. We're going to talk about, you see a lot of things up on the board right now. I call them Mitchisms, right? These are everywhere, and the lessons from all the businesses, which is really cool. But let's get into, first, I hear this word a lot, lifestyle business. And lifestyle business is not a dirty word. Talk to us about that.
Yeah. So, you hear about all of the companies out there, and even more in the last year or two, about these AI companies that are exploding, going to $1 billion in valuation. And then people think their lifestyle business, their small business, doesn't have the same worth. And I think that's just an entirely mistake. Most businesses are what I'm going to call a lifestyle business. And when I say a lifestyle business, this is a business that funds your lifestyle. And it also provides for all of your employees. I've had a business that's, over 20 years old. And that business, we've literally paid for houses, paid for people going through college, paid for retirement. People have made careers working for the businesses that literally I started with my help of my partners. And that's an amazing thing. But a lifestyle business, and you think about these businesses that are plumbers, electricians, lawyers, even doctors to some extent, things would be bigger businesses, but they may not be able to scale internationally. They may not be able to scale even regionally. They may just be a mom and pop store. And that lifestyle business is a great business. I characterize Hire Santa is my favorite lifestyle business I've had. I've had businesses that are much bigger. I've had businesses that are obviously smaller, but this business is such a great, what I'm going to say is a lifestyle business. It funds my lifestyle. And I've said it before, if I could, Trent, if I could make what we did last year, adjusted for inflation for the next 50 years, sign me up.
Yeah. I have an example of this that I thought was really interesting. I remember coaching, mentoring years ago, And I had a young man come in, and he had a very nice little business, and primarily in the accounting bookkeeping space. And I was astounded to see his margins in this business. I was like, wow, this guy's like, he's got probably expenses were about 20%, maybe 25% of his top line. And I was like, wow, this is not a lot of overhead. He had been very efficient, and he had internal reasons of why he didn't want to grow into this multi-50, $100 million brand, right? And part of that was losing his identity of being a family man and a father and being there for his kids. He's like, man, I've seen this in a lot of businesses, because he saw them from an accounting perspective, and was like, the business was like the tail wagging the dog, right? And so all of a sudden, this owner's getting whipped around and losing priority. And he's like, I don't ever want to lose priority. And I asked him to bring in his 10K and his annual. And I was like, hey, listen, man, this P&L is great. Like, he's making over $500,000 a year. And there's not a lot of towns that you can't live on over $500,000 a year and afford what he wanted for his family. And I thought, hey, you don't need to be 75 million if these are your priorities.
Yeah, totally agree. And priorities is a good thing. Like, he probably could have grown his business if he wanted to, but he's made a choice about it. Some businesses I see, they reach a particular level where they've got to change what they're doing and how they're doing it to accelerate it past that. And then they feel, they feel like they're not successful in some way, or they feel like they're not achieving or keeping up with the Joneses or whoever happens to be, because they're not growing as fast as other people. But I say this about myself in some ways, about starting another business, and I'm not sure I'm willing to pay the price. That in the same way with your bookkeeping friend, that example is that he's not willing to pay the price that is needed to grow to 10x his business. Yeah. And so people say lifestyle business is sort of a dirt, or they think they sort of put it down, but I'm here to elevate it and say that it's a truly great thing. And if you have a lifestyle business, then you should celebrate it.
Yeah. I think the other side of this is that when I got into my 40s, I remember I'm totally risk averse as a 25-year-old. I'm ready to do anything, right? Let's make money. You start looking back at a 45-year-old, and you've got, some property to lose. You've got, your kid got kids about ready to go to college. You got to have, do I feel like taking a high level risk on something? And maybe that's not what I want to choose at that point.
Oh man, what a great point. And, one of my things is about not being scared, but I'm so glad that I started, I was working, had a great job before, and sort of made the leap in my late, I was almost 30. I'm going to say I was 30. And I did have a couple of kids at the time. I had a child on the way at the time, but I could not make that same leap when I was 45. Yeah. Like all the obligations, all the responsibilities, and really all the, all the things that I've committed to doing. My lifestyle was such that it would be much harder to do. Yeah. So I encourage young people, if you're going to, take risks when you're young, because you've got so much time to make up for those, and it will be such a great experience, whether it's starting a business, whether taking a different job, whether traveling or doing something that is outside of the norm.
Well, and I think some of those lessons of learning as a young man, they were expensive lessons, right? And it took me a little while to get that back on track, right? But that could have been much worse at 50. Oh yeah, had to get that lesson, right? Yep. That's good. Okay, so let's talk about the next one, which is buy your building. We talk about this because hard assets have not always anything to do with the service or the widget we sell or whatever, but yet it's an investment. Let's talk.
Yeah, it's a great transition from lifestyle businesses in particular, because many businesses, and I think so. I've had 5 of my businesses have bought buildings. And I think it's the best thing that a business can do. And in your essence, creating another business that is going to is going to own the real estate. But it's a great investment. And if you're a lifestyle business and you've been around for 5 years, you're pretty stable, and you can predict what's going to be happening over, say, the next 5 years. Is a high likelihood you're going to still be around in some way, and you're not growing at double digits or you're not growing that you're going to outgrow something. then buying a building is a great investment, particularly when interest rates are lower. But all the buildings, even the ones I thought weren't a great deal, when I look back on them, I thought, wow, that was a really good deal. Now, I've got a couple of great deals, but for the most part, literally just buying it just like anybody else would do. And you're going to be paying rent, so you might as well rent it to yourself. And one of the things that I've learned is, looking back, I wish I would have bought bigger buildings than what I had before.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's harder to get financing. You may have to partner with other people, but buying a bigger building is something that I wish I would have done. Somebody would have told me, coached me way back in the beginning, because you're just able to have more people. You're able to diversify your rents in many cases, as well as then you're able to increase the income that you're able to do. And outside of that, there's some amazing tax benefits. We refinanced one of our buildings that we bought, and you're literally able to take that money tax-free. So you're able to refinance it, pull all that money tax-free out from your building. And yeah, there's so many great ways, whether it be also depreciation and, talk to your CPA, talk to your attorney about the things, but there's so many benefits to owning your own building, particularly if you're a lifestyle business.
Yeah, I think the pros way outweigh the cons, right? I think one of the other things very simple from a finance point is, as you get into that business and that building, you finance that building and there's a certain price point. That is not going to change, but rents are going to change. The value that someone has to pay to be in that building will change. So there's always this broadening gap with what it costs to own versus how much the revenue's coming in on it. And that's going up and up and up exponentially in the environment, hopefully a long time, right? Like as we've seen the rule of 72, that interest keeps growing, right? But that payment's not changing. That is locked in for a long time in these long-term states. I love that. Now, quick question on that. Like, as we've seen a more remote audience, Mitch, do you still feel like it's still a play that people are concerned, like, hey, not that many people are coming to the office anymore. Yeah. Do I buy that kind of class level building where there's going to be a lot of people?
That's a great question. And a couple of years ago, I was actually worried that, maybe at this time I should be looking to sell my business or sell my office building holdings. But people come back, and it may have changed. But the core of the buying a building as a business owner is you're putting your own business in there.
That's right.
And so, you're guaranteeing at least 25% or 50% or maybe 75% of the building. I would really push to buy bigger buildings, but you're already going to be there. And if you have visibility into your own business, that you have high level of confidence that it's going to be around for the next 5 or 10 years, then it seems like it has always seemed to me a pretty safe investment. So irregardless of other things, there are going to be people who need office space to meet clients in some particular way, or to gather their own staff together. And I think it's still going to be around. I think the remote work is still here, and it's still here to stay, but more and more people are having people come back into the office.
Love it.
Yeah.
So let's talk about this. What is your limiting factor? Like, and I'd probably asked that to, I don't know, probably 10 companies in the last 3 months. And it's rare that everybody looks at each other in the room, group of executives, like their executive leadership team, and they all agree.
Yeah.
Rare.
Oh.
That's rare. I'll hear 5 different answers from sometimes 5 different people, and often at least 2 or 3 if there's 5 people.
Interesting. Yeah. So, and that really points to one of the things about why this is one of the things that you need to do, is like figuring out what your limiting factor is for your business is so important to, there's a book called, I think it's called One Question. The One Question, I think Keller wrote this book.
Yeah. One thing.
Mm-hmm. And it talks about what's the one thing that if you solved would solve the next 10 things underneath it. And this is what's the limiting factor for your business? And what is that thing that right now, if you fixed, would increase your business by 10%, 20%, 100%, maybe even more? And as a business owner or a business executive, like, that's your job. Your job is to work on the one thing, that one limiting factor. And I like to say that you should spend at least 25% of your time. It's that important to your business. And so that's literally like a day a week. a full day's work a week on that one issue. Could you fix that one issue? And how impactful would it be if you could fix it? And to your point, like if your business is not aligned on what that one factor is, like that's a great rallying cry itself. Is like, you got 10 people, you got 5 different people thinking their limiting factor is this. Well, aligning them all onto that one thing, attacking it over the course of either whether it be a sprint, whether it be an annual goal, a rock over a quarter, or an annual goal, I think really will make a huge impact in your business.
Love it. Yeah, I love it. I think that's there's always going to be challenges in the gaps. And great book. Keller Williams wrote that book, The One Thing. That's also a good little read. So check that out. Next one.
Hey, before we go on to that one,
yeah.
And it's interesting. Like most people, and this will segue maybe to another one.
Yeah,
most people, small business in particular, it's about getting clients. It's about how we feel like we've reached a particular plateau in our business in getting clients. They've gotten 1 or maybe 2 different channels where they get clients from. A lot of small businesses, a lot of lifestyle businesses, it's networking. And they've reached this level where the owner, he's out there selling, he's out there networking, and he's gotten this great base, but he can't get another salesperson to do the same thing, or they're doing something online and they can't do, the prices are going up and they're sort of plateaued. And it's about getting that, how do we get more clients? And so figuring that out, and it's different for every business, every type of business, but mastering getting clients or getting new clients is really most people's limiting factor.
Yeah. And I think that's where I was going to go too, is that, we make businesses based on revenue, right? And we have to have clients to get revenue. So there's a lot of different ways we can do revenue. As we work to develop, multiples in a company, we're always looking at how do we add revenue, but how do we get systems and include process that reduces expenses, right? So we're widening the gap of margin in our business all the time. And it's tough to widen the margin if you can't get clients.
Yeah.
Like you can only reduce expenses so much, right? Like it's not like you can't rule out people. AI is not going to replace everybody. So like get used to that. So mastering getting clients is a really big deal. And I think people just decide, Mitch, that you know what, we're not good at it.
Yeah.
And they kind of give up.
Yeah.
Have you seen that?
Yeah, I think you're right. And it's everybody has a particular, whether it be an entrepreneurial superpower or some ability, they've gotten clients in a certain way. So they've got this hammer that they've gotten and they're using it. But then everything looks like a nail, so they've only got this one hammer. And the trick is to maximize that hammer for sure. But then also, like, what other ways can you get clients? I was literally talking with this a gentleman who had a great business in drywall, but his clients were commercial enterprises, and he had a particular niche that he was at. And he's like, "Yeah, this is it." And I'm like, "On your drive to your office, he has a long drive. It's like 40 miles to his office." I'm like, there are probably 100 of those particular people who have somebody who's in charge of their infrastructure from their facility, some facility manager between here and there, and that every one of those people knew what they were doing. Like, this is target audience. Like, find out who those people are, start emailing them. He's done no email. It's all of word of mouth. It's all of his own network, and he really hadn't done a great job of it. It's like these 40 people, like, it's not a big number. Find out who they are, where they work, go visit them, because none of his competitors are doing anything remotely to that. And once you've identified those target people, those 40 people, call them, email them, postcard them, visit them. You pick up 3 or 4, you start doing that 1 a week. You've covered everybody, and you do it every year, and you'll transform your business.
Yeah. And that's structure. Just that structure.
Yeah.
And I love that. I'm envisioning that, right? I got a 40-minute drive, and on Tuesday mornings, I stop in one of these 40 targets and I have coffee, which I've set up in advance, right? I've called all these people. This is what we do. If we haven't heard from you for a while, hey, listen, Tuesday morning, I've got availability. Let's have coffee. And every Tuesday morning is my coffee day into work. I'm going to stop at one of these 40 brands, which I'm already traveling past. I've decided to leave 45 minutes earlier than usual, which is less traffic. I can now spend an hour with a client or a potential client that I already have established has a need. And so like, wow, like just like that, it's a structure. And it's like, wow, I didn't even know this was here all the time. And all these time, the last 5 years, been driving to that office and never considered I'm passing 40 prime targets in my network. So build the systems, build the plan. Like this is not rocket science. And at the end of the day, you have something they need and they're thankful that you found them.
Yeah, it's a great point. And it may not be your expertise to know these things, but you probably have a network of people like Trent that you can reach out to that can help you come up with ideas and structures to come up with creative ideas to do exactly this. It doesn't have to be rocket science. These, right, as we started off the whole thing, successful companies do the things others know they should be doing, but generally don't. These are the things. It's making those connections. It's asking for referrals. Like you do a great job for one of these, anybody, ask for a referral. Like, do you know, and do it in, the way that you should be doing it. Who are 2 or 3 other people that you know that would benefit from our services?
Yeah, this is a big one for me because like in our business, I get so many beautiful letters and beautiful emails and going, man, our company has adapted and changed, and it is like a whole nother environment now. We are hitting on all cylinders, and we played on a lot of winning teams, you and I, Mitch. And like when you're playing on a winning team, it's fun, right? Like it's like, and I didn't say it was easy. Winning teams are actually often hard because you're doing the harder things. You're going above and beyond. You're doing the extra practices. You're getting better prepared than the competition, which is, by the way, why you're winning, right? But like, people like to go, I don't know if you know or not, but like I'm on the winning team. And, and like we like to be on the winning team. And we're also proud to be on the winning team. And you know what the next question is? When people know, they go, hey, Mitch, hey, Trent, hey, I know you guys are on the winning team. What are you guys doing over there? Because our team's not winning. Yeah. I'm like, oh, man, you should talk to my guy. And I'm like, why am I not asking for a referral? They write me these beautiful testimonies. Hey, you know someone who's not winning? Oh, man. My buddy Ted, like, yeah, just talked to him. We played some golf. Things are just not going the right direction. I'd love to meet him. Maybe we could get him going in the right way and start winning. Oh, yeah, that'd be great. I'd love to make that introduction. All you do is do an email. I'll take it from there. And that's it, right? This isn't like I got to twist somebody's arm and offer them, you know what, I'll give you a lifetime supply of coffee if you'll just introduce me. You don't. They've got something and they're happy to share it with their friends and people that are struggling because it makes them feel good.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's, what's interesting is there's been some studies about whether it be getting a job, whether making referrals, that it's weak connections. It's not somebody like your best friend. It's the acquaintance that you have. Like having that person or a client that you have, it's talking to them. It's those weak relationships that often have the biggest fruits that are out there. So it's not just the person that is your best friend.
That's such a good point. We have an office party. We use Hire Santa. And then here's the husband of one of my employees comes in and goes, this is the best party ever. Where did you get that guy? Oh, I'm like, you got to meet Mitch Allen and get your own. Like, oh, great, because I work at this big firm in downtown and we need something because we have this big party and we haven't ever figured out the right Santa. And I'm like, oh, problem solved. Listen, I'm on a Christmas card list for 10 years now from a guy I don't even know because I was able to help somebody? Like, that's awesome. It makes me feel good.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. So let's talk about price with confidence because this is a challenge. I have said for a lot of years, price high and justify, right? Like this is how do I get into a confident space where I feel good? And of course, everyone's got their pricing close to their chest. And so they're like, well, I can't tell you how much we charge. And I'm like, I don't know. It's all on Amazon, right? Like, if it's all we're a price, it doesn't take about maybe 2 calls to find out what the competition's out there charging. So this is not deep research to find out. How do we feel good about where we're at?
Oh, pricing with confidence. When I talk with business owners, I like to say, I'll use my wife as an example, that if my wife isn't, if your wife isn't embarrassed by how much you're charging, you're not charging enough. And meaning that most entrepreneurs have some sort of, whether it be guilt or whatever it is, that they feel like they want to be the lowest cost person out there, and they're just not pricing with confidence. Like price and justify is a great thing about it. But over the last 5 years, coming out through COVID and coming out of COVID, prices for everything have gone up at least 25%. So if you haven't at least increased your prices, say 25%. Then you've not even kept up with inflation. And if you're doing Google ads have even increased more than that. So it's one of these things that you have to price with confidence. You have to price such that you're making a real wage and you're actually delivering your product or service at a rate that's sustainable. And most entrepreneurs probably not paying themselves, so they're probably not having a good idea of their actual, the P&L is probably not exactly accurate. And one of the things also having here says, if we weren't so profitable, we wouldn't be making any money. And this is about a business that we had that was making money, but it wasn't really crushing it. But we weren't pricing it correctly to begin with. And once you price it correctly, well, your economics change. And particularly if you're doing a service, if you're doing a product, it's pretty easy. You've got an input. You probably should be 3 or 4 times what that is. That should be your price. But for a service, people don't use that same methodology and struggle with pricing.
Yeah, one of the things that I see in this world is, and we've dealt with this with the STR business, right? We've got the short-term rental business, and we've just had massive movement in cost. All the listing agencies have charged a lot more money to the client. Insurance has gone up massively. Employment, labor for cleaning houses and things like that, doubled, tripled some places in different high-end areas, right? And so now it's like, what happened to our margin? And it's tough because we're trying to figure out, hey, I'm trying to price high and justify, but I am literally pricing myself out of the market where I'm getting to this point, like we can't make more money, yet everyone is now paying 25% more. And that's just covering my costs. I'm not making more. What would you say to somebody? We could do a little coaching for you to make that. Like,
that's a hard one.
I'm in the hot seat, bro.
It's a hard one, but I also think that it's, I do like niches. All of my businesses and I'd say most small businesses are a niche business. And even small, short-term rentals can be a niche business. And I'll use Hire Santa. I'll use one of our clients as an example, and that's photographer. Photographers hire us to rent a Santa for pictures with Santa, which is a great use to build their business. But we have some people that are charging $150 for a session and you get a couple pictures. And then we have some clients that are at $2,000 or $3,000 for what they're delivering for the same pictures with Santa. But they position themselves in the right way and they've marketed themselves in a particular way. It's a higher end market. They're doing editing, which makes these sort of magical effects come on. Like they're probably spending an extra 20 or 30 minutes on the photo editing than somebody else, because they're both editing it, but they're doing a little bit extra. They're creating a little bit more magical experience versus just a photo of Santa. And then they are upselling at the end. So they're creating these experiences and also creating a niche. So short-term rental, I bought a piece of land here recently. And I thought about doing short-term rentals, but what I thought about doing is like, let me do Airstream trailers. Let me do something really sort of interesting and different. Let me highlight, and then it was highlighting the geographic area, maybe adding in experiences. The VRBO is sort of trying to do this now, but packaging an experience with a short-term rental that's unique to the area, having a chef come in or providing a cooking experience in the house. But I think that's the thing, is that how do you separate yourself so that you can elevate your experience and separate yourself from your competitors?
See, Mitch Allen, there's the answer right there, right? I gotta step up my game here. This is great. So lastly, we're ending with employees make it happen. Mitch and I've owned 14 companies. You've been in at least like over 10, right?
Yeah,
so yeah, I mean, when we sit there, we've owned a lot of companies. I mean, it's been a long time since I've been an employee. This is a little after 2000, right? And I was a baseball coach in Major League Baseball. That was my last probably employment job, right? So when you think about that, but I don't build my companies anymore. Employees make it happen.
That's right, for sure. And when you talk with many business owners, they'll say, well, the extreme is if I didn't have clients and I didn't have employees, I'd have a great business. Well, you wouldn't have a business. But,
it's right.
The employees, and many times entrepreneurs get frustrated with their either partners or particularly their employees. But I think you have to shift that to really loving your employees, because they enable us to be here today. I'm right in the middle of our busiest season, and here I'm talking to you because I've got some amazing employees who treat the business like their own and really enable me to live the life that I'm living. And it's two ways. I'm providing a great opportunity for them, a great workspace, all the things, but it's a shift from where in essence, even though they're employees, they're your partners. They're the people that you need to be pouring into and need to make them better when they leave than when they came in. They need to be more skilled, have more skills and more opportunities if and when they ever decide to leave.
Well, and for me, I think this is so important because just as we talked about getting more clients and building that avatar of what a client is that we really like, who loves our service, and where we find them at and where they're spending their money, and we study all those things. I think as a coach, I don't know how many times I've said, "Oh, our second baseman, Mitch Allen, I'll take 12 more players just like him." It's not because he's the fastest guy or he throws it the hardest, or it's the attitude. It's the avatar of what he brings to the team as a player who comes in and just elevates people around him. I love the statistic that your best employees outperform the average employee by 7 times. That's a crazy number, right? I know you have a go-to at Hire Santa, and you speak about her publicly on the stage, and listen, if I can replicate 30 more of these, the sky's the limit. This is the person, and it's not that she's the fastest, she's the best, she's the only one who can work with clients well. There's all sorts of factors.
Yeah, and it is totally true. Finding those key employees, keeping them, and also then cycling through people who don't fit into your culture. And some of that's your responsibility, some of it's theirs. But it's finding the right people, cultivating them, and then keeping them for a long time. And really, they become like family. I mean, they're really part of your family. And I love employees, and I would love to have more employees. But that's then have to grow your business and do all the things.
Yeah, I think this is back to the team, right? When you think about that, you bring in the team, you get the right players, your brand will flourish. And that's always the way we're always headed. We're always working on that. People tell me all the time, Mitch, hey, how do we get our company to multiple X, 10X, 3X, 5X, 10X? I got the playbook right here, Flourish. That is the book right here. You book a call with me for 15 minutes, and you'll get that in the notes below. And have your biggest challenge, because this is what we do. We deal with challenges our entire life. I will send you a free copy of that. You book a call with me for 15 minutes. I will give you that today. Happy holidays. My gift to you. Mitch Allen, thank you so much for coming on Winning Ways. These are the factors in your business. You've got to get in those winning ways. And as you build that team to greatness, it's exactly where you're going to want to be. So Mitch Allen, Hire Santa, serial entrepreneur, live from South Lake, Texas. This is how we roll. So super exciting to be in here, and even taking the holidays to tell you the entrepreneur level, as Mitch mentioned, setting himself up. He's got systems. He's got teams. This is the busiest season to Hire Santa, sitting in here in South Lake with me today. We are a truly blessed group, and thankful to Mitch Allen for coming on.
Yeah, my pleasure. Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas, everybody. Until next time, winners, find a way.